Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of GnWC Weekly. It is Thursday, June 23rd, just after SmackDown, as we normally do. I'm the Duke, and I'm joined by my good buddy.
My name is Teresa Mendoza. I am from Mexico.
You're gonna get me on a rant that I wanted to have. Like, I actually wrote notes for this rant, and I was gonna find some way to factor it in. Can I go ahead and do it now?
Listen, the floor is yours, buddy.
All right. By the way, that's Angry Larry. I'm the Duke. But here, let me rant on this real quick. So SmackDown has an ad for what is it? Queen of the South?
House of Cards. Oh, Queen of the South. Yeah.
Queen of the South. The intro that Larry was just doing. Which, by the way, every single show that's a drama these days, whether it's a comic book drama or a serious drama, everything has to start with someone saying, "My name is blah." It's become a trope now. It's ridiculous. Anyway,
my name is Barry Allen.
Yeah, my name is Barry Allen, and I'm the fastest man alive. My name is Oliver Queen. Blah blah blah. My name is Michael Weston.
Enzo Amore.
And I used to be
my
name is
Weston,
Enzo Amore.
Yeah.
Apparently my name is Paul Heyman. But anyway, so wrestling did it first, is what we're saying. They beat the Simpsons
I don't know.
To it.
I think we can go back in history and find maybe Abraham Lincoln said it first.
I don't.
Gettysburg Address. And one night, my name is Abraham.
So back
Lincoln,
on my rant.
And 7 years ago. Yeah.
I don't think that's how it happened.
I Wikipedia differs.
Back on my rant, just real quick. Queen of the South. Yeah. I'm sure it's a great show, and it's like
I want to watch it.
Competitive for Narcos on Netflix and stuff like that. That's the general idea I'm getting from it. But within 60 seconds of a show that was promoted during WWE PG SmackDown, TV PG SmackDown on WWE, within 60 seconds of that show going off the air and the next thing that they promoted coming on the air, someone was snorting cocaine. Within 4 minutes of that show, someone was saying, "Shit, man." Within 5 minutes, someone was again snorting cocaine and calling cocaine shit. So
and let me just say that the show is not even halfway done yet, and Duke's already ruining the open for everybody.
I know. But
that's the fastest spoiler ever.
But well, whatever. You don't know. It's about drugs. You know that from the ads. I mean, come on. But
maybe the guy was gonna fake and like do a deke in a 360 and then like throw a Nerf ball at somebody. You know, you never know.
I don't think that's no. I mean, within 60 seconds. But I'm not trying to ruin the show for you, and I'm not trying to be a prude. And that's not language I normally use, and we normally keep it really PG. But it's just like I don't understand, and I'm not someone who's like anti-PG for WWE, but I don't understand advertising shows that are TVMA on a TV PG show as part of your television deal when you have advertisers who say, "We're not going to do business with you unless your show is your content is PG." Like it just blows my mind. And I'm not putting this on WWE. I'm actually putting this on USA and the hypocrisy of television.
It has to be put on USA because if you're going to talk about the opening of the show, like it's not WWE's fault that like
correct
as soon as the show ends, everyone's TV turns off and then you got to turn it back on again to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and it's not WWE's fault that. Well, I mean, and I'm sure it's part of the TV deal. When we want to advertise a show on your show, we're going to do that, and we want you to do spots for it. I'm sure it's part of.
And I'm
TV
sure
deal.
WWE also has no resistance to it as well. So
well, I know because it's money is money, and they got to stay on the air. I know there's plenty of business reason to do it. It just boggles my mind how much they hold their employees to this PG standard, sometimes even off air, and you they can't even say some things on social media and stuff like that. Yet this is what you promote, and like within 5 minutes, you've had two people not referencing cocaine, using cocaine on screen within 5 minutes of your show going off the air, and you promoted that show where someone's using cocaine. Anyway, so that's my little mini rant, and I won't rant the rest of the show, I promise.
Brie mode.
Yeah.
I'm poking the bear. I was waiting for you to rant. But, hey, Larry, let's do some news and notes. Hey, thanks, Duke.
Yeah, sorry for not throwing that to you. Larry, how about some news and notes? And speaking of drug-related things.
That's a great idea. Since we're all down in the dumps right now, let's throw the most recent WWE bad news out in the forefront. We already had the trouble with Adam Rose and Conor O'Brien getting suspended earlier in the year. We didn't mention because of the taping last week of the preview show for Money in the Bank that Jerry Lawler was also arrested and suspended indefinitely.
Sure.
For whatever he did with his wife, who also got arrested.
Domestic stuff.
Paige was taken handcuffed into an ambulance, which may or may not be legit. It may be fodder for Total Divas, but
no, it's not.
A report from Vegas says that it did, in fact, happen without revealing the name, but alluding to the pictures of Paige saying that was the incident. So, but she was on TV Monday, although in a transitional role to get from the current match to Sasha Banks arriving.
Hang on. Let me interrupt that one real quick. So Del Rio, who's always been extremely candid on stuff, was on a podcast and said what happened was people basically heckled them while they were at Absinthe, the show in Vegas that I saw a lot of people from WWE talking about on. It's called Absinthe something. What's it called? I don't know, but it's some kind of show. I don't know if it's some kind of show that's big in Vegas that a lot of the WWE people went to. Del Rio and Paige went after Money in the Bank, and there was some lady who was severely inebriated and her boyfriend who were heckling them, and they eventually got the hecklers kicked out because they kept bothering them. When they came out of the show, the people were waiting for them to get in their face again, and there was an altercation where potentially fists were flailing, not necessarily any contact was made, and so they put Paige into the ambulance. They basically typical domestic dispute type thing, not domestic like husband and wife type thing, but just like, people potentially assaulting each other, the normal stuff you would do, and that separate people, take them to their corners, make sure everyone's healthy, and then send people on their merry way. That's the story Del Rio told on the podcast. But anyway.
And the initial knee-jerk, clickbaity kind of reaction was that Del Rio went to the hospital, had an argument with Paige, and she was taken away for, medical evaluation, like mental evaluation.
Yeah, and people were like white powder this and stuff, like all kinds of weird stuff. Yeah.
So whatever that may be, but the latest one happened as a shock Tuesday morning. Roman Reigns, as you probably all know, was suspended for violating the wellness policy for 30 days, which means he's back eligible in time for Battleground. They don't have to do any sort of mixing it up. Duke, is this fair? And let's just not speculate on what Roman did. He owned whatever he did, and the wellness policy can mean anything from irregular heartbeat to, taping Queen of the South to whatever. Like it encompasses a lot of things, so it doesn't exactly mean drugs. It doesn't exactly mean steroids.
Correct.
It can mean a lot of things. Roman owned up to
whatever it was.
To whatever it was. Is it fair that somebody gets star treatment to remain in the match and remain on top of the card just after violating the wellness policy and then 30 days later be able to make the pay-per-view, while other people can get hit with the wellness policy and then fade into obscurity? Want me to ask it a little bit different way, a little bit
Yeah, because
better?
that's
Like not putting
extremely
broad
that's
spot?
an extremely biased way to ask it,
Well,
and there's
the other way
also
to ask
the
it,
reverse bias
well, the
to
other way to
answer it.
ask it is that after the match at Battleground, would it be unfair if WWE didn't punish Reigns somehow within the card by putting people over on him?
I would not think that's unfair. No, not at all. I would um
Everything the same once he comes back after Battleground?
no, not everything the same.
No, so it's the other way. What I'm saying, have Reigns be
Yeah,
punished by
no, I'm
putting other
saying
people over.
yeah, no, I'm saying
Okay.
I agree with something like that, especially when women can't do anything out of line, and everybody's equal, but women don't get any TV time, and they can barely do anything wrong outside of the confines of a show and not get severely punished
Well,
and even
Paige kind of went
publicly.
unscathed. She did get arrested
Eh,
or whatever, got into an altercation, and she still had a spot on Monday, which I'm assuming would have been the same spot anyway if she didn't get, because you had to go logically from one girl to Sasha Banks, so might as well put
that's
Paige
not
in there.
a yeah. Well, but Paige has kind of been protected from a lot of stuff too. Not to the same extent as Reigns because she's a woman, but
Yeah,
she's done dumb stuff in the past
right,
and kind of gotten
absolutely.
away with it too. So yeah.
Absolutely. So the quick answer is that
Quick
yeah,
answer is I think you're right that he deserves to sort of have to run his punishment on TV.
okay. So don't punish him by screwing up the card as it stands now, even though it's well over a month away or just over a month away, but rather let that happen and then do the on-screen kind of punishment in the ring to better the company and better other superstars by having Reigns kind of job to them in some way. That kind of is that's a nice, like, it doesn't justify whatever was done if it was truly illegal. You know what I mean? Because
Correct.
it
It
could be
does not.
something
You're right.
it could be something he bought at GNC and was in it and he didn't know and then boom got nailed for it.
Yeah. I mean,
But
there's so much.
yeah,
It's extremely heavy-handed. Even though a lot of people will say which we won't get into this, but a lot of people will say it seems not as what's the word I'm looking for? Not as fair across the board.
right,
Um,
right.
there's
Different
plenty of people who
people on
claim
different
that.
levels of the
Yeah.
card have different types of punishments for different times of
Yep.
similar crimes.
Yep.
That's just what it is. But all right, let's move.
but it is as a policy extremely heavy-handed. So
Yeah.
I mean everything like this has been mentioned everywhere, but it was one of the first things I thought of when I saw the report. Hornswoggle on Austin's podcast, his thing was, yeah, everyone's called me a druggie for years, and I just couldn't provide a urine sample, like in the time allotted, and it's pass fail, and just like any test, if you can't turn in the test, you get a 0, so it's a failure. So yeah. Anyway, but
Yeah. And there was also the case of Titus O'Neil, who wasn't violating the wellness policy.
Correct.
He just did something stupid
and
and
60 days or whatever.
and 60 days. And
Initially 90. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and he had to lose on Father's Day too. So, Father of the Year.
Yeah. But that's the WWE way.
All right. Absolutely. And the WWE way is also like Roman Reigns not getting that kind of treatment once he comes
Unfortunately,
back.
so we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. So here's the news that most interests me regarding the brand split and live specials / pay-per-views.
Uh-huh.
We are going to a 2 pay-per-view a month format, but major pay-per-views, both brands will be on them. And I wonder if that's going to be expanded to 4 hours with an hour-long pre-show and matches from each brand on the pre-show. That's something I don't want, and maybe we'll mention it once we talk a little bit about Money in the Bank in a second. But it's starting in September. Backlash on the 11th for SmackDown. Clash of the Champions on the 25th for Raw. October is No Mercy on the 9th for SmackDown. Hell in a Cell on the 30th for Raw. November will have Survivor Series, both brands included. And then December will be TLC on the 4th for SmackDown. Roadblock on the 18th for Raw. We're going to have 2 roadblocks this year. I hope that doesn't mess up my OCD. And also it's starting in September. Like I said, the August pay-per-view was SummerSlam. That's happening after the brand extension, and both shows will be involved then. So it's more wrestling, and I hope that the major shows don't go into this full, we have to expand it like it's WrestleMania and make the shows 3.5 hours long with 2 matches on the pre-show. That killed Money in the Bank for me. We'll mention that real brief coming up. But let me also say that TNA, Duke, good news. You always want good news on the news and notes. I got good news for you.
Go.
TNA has re-signed at least 6 superstars. Rosemary, Rockstar Spud, DJ Z, Abyss, Trevor Lee, and Al Snow have all been re-signed by TNA. A company that's been marred by technical difficulties on their last semi-live show a few weeks ago on Pop TV, and a pay-per-view that almost didn't happen a couple Sundays ago because of money issues, can somehow re-sign wrestlers. So I have no idea what's going on in TNA.
It is perplexing.
I
don't get it.
I want the company to succeed. I am not a TNA hater. I hate what they do at times. I like wrestling to exist. I like people to have jobs. I like more people to be involved so that there's that mix in there. There's that rotation. But it is just pulling money out of a hat sometimes with that company, and you just don't understand where it's coming from or how, when they can't pay people like Bobby Roode and Eric Young, and they don't have money for a pay-per-view that they have to borrow at the last second, and then all of a sudden they're re-signing six wrestlers or 5 wrestlers and backstage person. It's weird. What also is weird, and I almost tweeted this to you on Sunday while watching before the pre-show of Money in the Bank. I was watching This Week in WWE, and you've probably seen the picture already. I saw a promo on This Week in WWE.
Oh, yeah.
That had 7 people in the Money in the Bank match.
Yep.
And you know who the 7th person is?
One Sin Cara. Just kidding. No, it was Kalisto.
I was going to say, maybe I got it wrong then. It was Kalisto.
I just wanted to mess with you.
Okay, no, good, because I'm glad you were messing with me. I didn't want. It's not like I cared if I got it wrong, but I also wanted to say that Kalisto was not the one in Lucha Dragons that got the pinfall on the pre-show either. Sin Cara was.
Yeah.
And Kalisto has been fed to people. So I wonder if he's in Chateau de Bow Wow.
The doghouse?
Yeah.
I got it.
That's an old New York Rangers reference
I speak
from
French.
Davidson. Yeah. But yeah, I wonder. I mean, I don't know what he could have done, but yeah, listen, he dropped the US title. He was pulled from a match, it looks like, and then he was just fed to people. So
yeah, who knows? It's weird.
Also weird, and also under the card subject to change category, I'm still getting, and I got it today as well, the MSG house show card that's still being advertised as champion Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, Ambrose versus Jericho in a New York City street fight. I've never seen, and I've been a wrestling fan for many years, and I've never seen an instance where like a champion was announced, a championship match was announced at a local house show, and like the timeline had the championship change before then. Like it was always one of those things, like if you heard a house show like card and the champions were still the champions on the card, then the champions wouldn't lose their title at whatever events would fall in between. But if the match would have just been Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins instead of saying champion champion Roman Reigns, then you would have known that Roman Reigns would have dropped the title somewhere in between. Have you ever seen something like that?
No, because I haven't had cable for a long time.
Okay.
So I don't see local commercials anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember it, and I specifically remembering things like this. Not to say remembering like 80 times, but
no, I
like
get you.
These things stand out to me. I read into things.
Right, of course.
And I noticed
that's what
that
we do every week.
What's that?
I said that's what we do every week. We read into
every
things.
week.
Yeah.
and I remember specifically times where a champion wouldn't be called champion, or there would be a TV taping and the guy who was the champion wouldn't go to the ring with his belt. And then you knew, like, wow, this guy's going to lose his title.
Something's happening. Yeah.
Or, oh, man, I wish I didn't see that because now I know he's never going to lose the title. And sure enough, and they never pulled the advertisement either. And it's a MSG advertisement too. You think they'd have enough money to just change it or whatever, but MSG is kind of out in New York City. Like Barclays Center is in. It's weird. Even the NBA draft going on right now is in Barclays Center instead of the theater at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, their marketing team is just working overtime to get whatever they can.
Yeah, and it's funny because the first event in the Barclays Center I was there for, TLC in 2011, I think it was. It was like right after it, John Cena came out and gave his rah speech, and he said, "Hey boys, listen, you guys got something here. You're gonna give that other arena in Manhattan a run for its money." And sure enough, WWE is hugged the Barclays Center while it's kind of just like patting MSG on the head, be like, "Yeah, we'll still go there a couple times a year. Don't worry.
We'll do special events there."
Yeah, well, I did that one live house show special with Brock Lesnar and Giant, the Big Show, but whatever. All right, a couple more things here, and I'll move along quickly. Ring of Honor news: Roderick Strong will be departing the company after 13 years.
That's interesting.
So, Mr. ROH, and it is really interesting. I mean, he would fit great in NXT, but I didn't realize how much of a veteran he was. But yeah, he'd work in NXT. I'd love to see him and Austin Aries either reform a tag team or because they were ROH tag team champions.
Yeah.
Or go one-on-one there. CM Punk's UFC debut was delayed again, but seems to be kind of officially announced for UFC 203, which is sometime in a couple events from now, whatever.
Where is it though?
What's that?
Where is it?
Is it in Chicago?
No.
I have no idea. I really didn't care enough to look into it.
It's in the exact same arena that he walked out of Raw.
Oh, really?
Yep. It's in Cleveland.
Wow.
Yep.
He was never on that Raw, right? He walked out after Royal Rumble, but never he was on TV, right?
I don't remember, but it is like the night he walked out of WWE, it's that arena.
You know, his ring entrance should include the path that he took to walk out of the ring as like a jab.
That would be interesting. That would be
like 4 people would get it.
Yeah, all the smarks would be like, "Oh my God, I love this guy. I hope he doesn't die."
Or he should just come out and just be like, "Feed me more." And it'd be awesome. But all right, one last thing here, and this is like the most recent thing. It's like a couple hours ago, fresh off the presses. The Cruiserweight Classic tapings are going on right now, and I'm not looking at results. Don't worry. But there was a disaster in the arena because people were not showing up. The attendance was bad. It was sold out.
No.
Well, let me finish.
Okay.
It was sold out.
You're clickbaiting this.
No, I'm not really, because it's kind of like half true, half not true. It kind of met in the middle of disaster and capacity crowd. There's poor attendance. It was sold out. People are blaming scalpers and a conflicting NXT event nearby where people may have bought tickets for both and just went to the NXT event. They started moving people around from the top of the arena to fill the seats lower so it looked better on TV. And they brought the tarp out to section off things. But there was a reported accident on I-4 in Orlando.
Yeah.
So people were trickling in. No, it's not clickbait, because people were trickling in after the fact, which made it the disaster because they already moved people from the top to their seats. And now the people with those tickets had to be compensated or moved around, and then they had to take the people out of those seats. So I said it was a disaster, and that is a disaster, but it's still not capacity crowd as far as many tickets as they sold. So if it was like 60% full and they were expecting 100% full, it's like 80% full, even after the whole delay for the traffic or the accident or whatever it is. So it's kind of a weird situation over there right now, but I think it's kind of handled. I don't know. What'd you see on that?
Just that it was more about the accident than anything. But yeah, it's
I didn't see anything where the accident was true. I just heard that people were trickling in late, and then then WWE officials were blaming the delay because of all the nonsense they were doing it delayed the start time. They blamed it on an accident.
Well,
but
I actually saw someone who's there who was saying that it took him forever to get there.
Okay.
And he left early. So, yeah.
So, but it's still not capacity crowd as the time as we started doing this, but it kicked off like it was
But
already like an hour.
it's not a one night thing, so I'm sure it'll build. And
Yeah,
man,
hopefully.
have you actually been? I mean, I don't use Facebook anymore unless my wife sends me a link
I don't
and
use
says,
anything social media anymore unless I get a notification on Windows 10 that says you sent me a message on Twitter.
but which I understand what you're saying there. You don't want to get spoiled on everything, but
I watch too much stuff and too much stuff way after the fact.
right, same. The what was I going to say? Oh, but the Facebook page for the CWC is actually like it's worth watching the open for it, where they announce all the guys on Facebook.
Oh, they showed the parade of participants.
They have well, yeah, but they have each one enter the ring, all 32 guys.
Oh yeah,
each,
New Japan Pro Wrestling used to do that too.
Yeah, they introduce each guy, and man, Daniel Bryan is so visibly like wired, like it's fantastic. It's so great, and it's awesome to see already how he and Morrow interact, because Daniel's just excited to be there, and Morrow's like, I'm standing here with Daniel Bryan. So it's just like they have instant chemistry because they're in love with each other. So
nice.
and Brian's in love with the show. So it's really
spin-off
cool.
show for E Network. Morrow loves Daniel. We'll just do that right now. Duke, I have a pop quiz for you.
Pop quiz.
3, 2.
No, I did
1.
it.
All
Go,
right.
go.
What milestone will happen 1 week before the Battleground pay-per-view on July 24th, 2016?
New Day will beat London and Kendrick for the longest tag title reign with these tag titles.
That could possibly be an answer, but not the one I was looking for.
Oh, okay. Then that's all I got.
Charlotte will surpass Nikki Bella as the longest reigning WWE Women's Champion.
Interesting.
And it happened, like I said, it happens a week before the Battleground pay-per-view. So unless they change titles on Raw or SmackDown, which will be stupid, but they do have that live SmackDown happening before. I think. When's the live SmackDown?
July 19th.
July 19th. So that will happen before Battleground. Well, no, July 19th will be 3 days after what I said. So July 16th.
It's right after Battleground.
July 16th will be the date that she either ties or goes one after. I don't know. The whole leap year thing throws me. But so yeah. So unless they change titles on Raw or SmackDown, she will surpass Nikki Bella. So where are all the Nikki Bella fans that are going to act like AJ Lee fans and say they're only doing this because Ric Flair is her father, because they don't like Nikki Bella, because they don't like John Cena? It's not happening, is it? Weird, right?
Weird.
And they're not even acknowledging it at this point. And here's the caveat.
They will.
Of the whole thing.
Well, the caveat is.
Yeah, it's two different titles.
Yeah, two separate titles. So
2 separate titles. I had to go to 2 different Wikipedia pages to kind of compile the answer here, and I wasn't happy about that. But moving on, real quick.
Holy!
I know you want to talk about NXT. I know I want to talk about the tag team division a little bit, but there was that little Money in the Bank thing on Sunday. Do you want to give me a little bit of high, a little bit of low?
Sure. Okay.
For you?
Yeah. So I didn't hate the show. I know a lot of people hated on it, and there was legitimate things to complain about. So correct me if I'm wrong, Larry. What do we? Well, I'm saying correct me if I'm wrong, and then I'm going to ask you a question. So let me just rephrase this.
Which one do you want me to do? I'm so confused.
Okay, then I'll ask the question.
Okay, cool. I'm good at answering stuff.
All right. So real quick, do we normally complain more about the story or the wrestling for live events?
For live events, we complain more about the storyline.
Right. It's typically the wrestling was top notch. People
listen, the last 3
people work their butts off.
Have been awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Money in the Bank is exact opposite for me, at least. Until you get to the last 3 matches, man, it was not a disaster, because a disaster is people actually getting hurt, but man, it was bad. People were just, I feel like maybe, and this was a theory I just kind of came up with sort of after the fact, because of how everything timed out from the U.S. Championship match, how it basically went on until the NBA Finals were over, right? And then the rest of the show continued. I
Oh,
almost
did it line up like that? I didn't even notice that.
perfectly.
Oh, okay.
So the
Go filibuster with his kids until the finals are over.
yeah,
Go.
essentially.
There's only 18 seconds left. It's DMB. It's only going to take 8 minutes.
Yeah,
Go.
it's just like end it, end it. Rusev, cut a promo. Okay.
He's got Sirius XM in his ear. He's listening to the feed.
Yeah. But yeah, up until the U.S. title match was pretty good, but up until that, it was pretty rough. But the story was good. That's what was so weird. It's like all the stories kind of made sense and built towards something. But man, the wrestling was pretty bad. And I hate it for those guys. But what I was gonna say was, I feel like, given that happened with the U.S. title, and there was another match that like happened during halftime that was important. I forget which one it was, and it was one of the better matches. But before that, the last three. But
well, it went Money in the Bank. It went Cena. It went U.S. title. It went World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, Cena and AJ.
Yeah,
Cena and AJ. Oh no, it was the. I forget. Anyway, it was the Money in the Bank match. It was the Money the Money in the Bank match was during halftime, and then Cena and AJ were after that, and then when they were in the last couple of minutes of the finals was the U.S. title. So anyway, so I say all that to say I feel like the show was shuffled around from what they necessarily planned to do, because the show order didn't necessarily make that much sense in general.
It goes along with the high-low stuff we talk about sometimes.
Right.
Like, you don't want the fans to be high, like, well, no USA TV show, pun intended. But
sure, right.
You don't want the fans to be so energetic for so long that you got to kind of bring them down a notch, and you hope you don't bring them down all the way to the point where they're just mute for the rest of the show.
Right.
For me, it had a couple different problems. One, they really tried to turn it into WrestleMania by adding 2 matches, extending the length of it. You had 2 matches in the pre-show that were never even advertised until Friday morning, maybe. Titus, not Titus, but like the Baron Corbin Ziggler match, and then the other match, the Sheamus Apollo Crews match, would have been good for the pre-show.
Yeah.
And then if we had the other 3 hours for the rest of the show, it would have been a solid pay-per-view. The wrestling was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of matches on that show, regardless, that just mirrored each other. You had the Spot Fest that was the tag team match and the Money in the Bank match. That's really all it was. Last man to do his last move, wins, or team wins.
Oh,
you had Cena and Rollins double
quick,
ref bump.
Hold up. Yep, you're right. But real quick, let me just throw this in on the tag team match. Tag team Fatal 4-Way is the dumbest concept. That's like right up there with something on a pole matches for me from this point forward.
It's a Fatal 4-Way, but it doesn't follow a traditional Fatal 4-Way. You have to tag in and out.
Yeah. And there's also the fact that it's no DQ. So why does it matter who's in the ring at any given time? Yeah. The rules contradict themselves. They don't make sense.
Well,
it's a stupid
Charles
match.
Robinson talked about that on the Jericho's podcast that I finally listened to. But where he said that he doesn't know, as a referee, he doesn't know what rules to enforce on any given day, any given week,
right,
because they changed the emphasis on what they should or shouldn't allow, and not like real rule changes, but like, turn a blind eye to this, or don't even react to that kind of thing. And what are you supposed to do in a 4-way tag team match where it's no disqualification, but you have to make tags?
But you're supposed to have quote unquote legal people in the ring.
I mean, you can have legal people in the ring, but it doesn't, like, it's no DQ. So why can't your opponent be your partner be?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
he's not legal; he can't make the pin. But hey, why not?
Yeah, but at some point and this happened, when it gets just a mess and everybody's in and everybody's out, who is the legal man anymore? Especially when people run over to the ropes and they smack somebody, that's a tag.
Yeah.
Whether you want, like.
If you punch a guy in the corner and his partner's not in the ring, that's a tag.
That's a tag.
Tag the guy.
That's a tag. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
it's
listen,
just
I never
it's
thought of it that way, but
it's
now
a
you sold me on that.
yeah.
Now I
It's
hate it.
just it's
I hate it.
garbage. It's hot
It
garbage.
should be, traditional elimination then.
That's what it should have been. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it should have been, and that
So
builds a better story too.
right.
So
All right. So going back to the parallel stuff, you had parallel like drags where like Apollo Crews, Sheamus, and I'm not saying the bad matches, and Corbin and Ziggler, which may have been good matches in the bubble. But since they were doing this whole high-low stuff, and since the night was so long, and since there were so many matches on the back of the card that you were so amped for, it's like you don't want to sit through these matches. You don't.
well,
It's
I
like
mean,
you want to
they
get
were
the Tyson and
like
Holyfield. You don't want to sit through,
right.
Layla Ali and whatever her name was that Layla Ali always fought. Not
But-
the all right, not women, but let's say somebody else on the undercard.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like Mia St. John.
George Foreman and one of his kids. There you go.
George's versus George's, but
Yes.
it just seemed like because they made it this WrestleMania event, the double ref bump thing pissed me off, honestly.
Yeah, I
'Cause they
didn't.
just-
I didn't understand using that in 2 matches.
Because
really didn't.
here's why, and they did it in another match as well. I think it was Apollo Crews and Sheamus. They're so jacked up on protecting the people that lose that they have to find a way to make the winner win and reach that point and still make the loser look strong. And that's what they had to do with AJ and Cena, ref bump, and the club comes in. Cena lost, but Cena lost with an asterisk because AJ cheated. Okay, well, Roman Reigns lost the championship, but he lost with the championship, but he had the win. So he kind of would maybe not have lost if the referee was there. And Apollo Crews beat Sheamus, but he beat him with a roll-up. So Sheamus is still Sheamus, but Apollo Crews got the win as well. It just, I hate it. I hate it as
50,
much.
It's right there with 50. It's part of the 50-50 booking philosophy is what it is.
And then they started selling Roman Reigns' spear into the wall, the part of the wall that didn't collapse in,
Yeah.
by bringing the medical team in and everything. So it had like every wrestling trope I hated in one night. Ref bumps, another ref bump, a roll up, and like a fake injury kind of angle where the guy really wasn't hurt and it was just part of the storyline to make him look hurt. So when he loses, there's an excuse for why he lost. God, I hate that.
Well,
but
and I
story-wise-
don't want to beat this dead horse too much, but then there's also the fact that from what a lot of people say, WWE knew they were suspending Roman Reigns in 2 days at the pay-per-view.
Right.
So,
and that's I didn't want to mention that.
Well, I
other
know,
thing before,
and
but-
I don't want to bring everybody down again, but yeah, it's just
Well, it's not really bringing it down. It's
Well,
just
it's
more
just a-
speculating at like WWE
That's true.
will just play
That's true.
favorites.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
he should have been suspended before the event, but they just continued it and had the event. But there's other people who have been suspended on the spot and
Well, yeah.
had their stuff reworked.
And why can't
whether
you
it's
have
a matter of
Sorry, go ahead.
I said whether it's a matter of logically being able to rework it or not, who knows? I've seen pay-per-view events before, like, the guy who's been redacted for doing all those horrible things to his family, not show up at a pay-per-view, and then everything was changed on the fly that afternoon
Yep.
to be other things. I've also seen that same guy whose name's still redacted in a WCW pay-per-view benefit from things
From
that
the
didn't
exact
happen
same
and
thing.
things-
Yeah.
yeah. So
Well, and and Stone Cold didn't show up to do the Lesnar thing, right? He walked out. So
Yeah.
and you kayfabe an injury or whatever you're gonna do, or Vince or somebody comes out and runs somebody down and says we didn't even let him in the arena tonight.
You make AJ and Cena the main event, and maybe you have Rollins come in after the main event after already wrestling somebody who was, just reworked the matches. He already wrestled somebody, won. He comes in and, well, no, because the title's on Roman Reigns. So
Yeah,
so
I mean,
it's not on him.
so
whatever.
Real
mean,
quick, I know
yeah.
we bunny trailed really bad on this, but to their credit, getting the title off of Reigns made sense, and they kept some continuity by having him actually lose the title instead of he's not here. That
I seem to remember. Yeah, I seem to.
To an
sorry.
extent that would have sucked. So
I seem to remember other points in time too, where guys on the about to be suspended list coming and doing the job and dropping the title. RVD maybe, where he won the ECW and the WWE title at the same time. Then he got busted and then I think he lost the title on Raw,
Yeah.
and then was suspended afterwards. I think that was a thing, but I'm not sure. But anyway, enough for this
Anyway, we'll get off
show.
that. Yeah, sorry.
All right, so here we go. NXT this week. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying that NXT last night, by the time we're doing this taping on the 22nd, was probably the best wrestling TV show I've ever seen that never had a person with a title or a championship on the card. What about you?
I'm with you. It was just like I watched it while I was working out. I mean, that's not like pat on the back.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Weight dropping here. He's like, I work
really
out,
do.
bro.
I'm
really better than you, Larry. You watched it while eating freaking sour cream and onion waffle potato chips.
Well,
go ahead.
I just had to
make me feel worse.
I've got to lose weight. I got to drop 40 pounds. So, it's but I watched it while I was working out, and I'm just like, I'm walking around a track looking at it on my phone like a goober. You know, I look like a freaking millennial who can't get my eyes off my phone or whatever, and it's I found myself laughing at myself plenty, but there was so much about that show that I'm just like, I couldn't put it down. Like I started it like at a machine where, you know, it was okay for me to be watching something, but then I needed to walk a track to like cool down or something like that, and I'm still watching it. Like, that's how much of a goober I was watching the show, but it was just so freaking good. It was,
and let me say this:
so good.
If we wrote down the names of every participant in all the matches and we showed it to rando WWE fan who kind of knows about NXT, there's not a chance that they watch the show because of the names involved.
Oh yeah, especially one particular name.
We watched the show because we're NXT fans, and it's like, maybe it wasn't like the tops in NXT shows, but with the talent they had and as much invested interest that I had watching it, I loved it.
Yeah.
So good.
It was so good.
And it just scares me with the brand extension and the whole like performance center changes they're going to do, and all these guys they're going to call back, that NXT as we know it could be gutted, and like we could have just like no names just like being pushed on us right away.
Well,
but they've done that so many times, filtering in no names or mixing them in with names from indies or TNA or overseas. It just works, and I have all the confidence it will work. But at the same time, I just don't want to see everyone get depleted.
Yeah, I'm with you. I get it. But man, can we just start naming off the people that were thoroughly impressive that you expected maybe not much from, or absolutely nothing from?
Oni Lorcan.
Oni freaking Lorcan. Yeah.
Christopher Gerard. Those three people were excellent.
Yeah. They were all the same guy.
Oh, my bad. They all beat Ty Dillinger. He lost 3 times in one night.
3 times in one night. His stock is plummeted to 5 with me.
That was Corey Graves saying his stock was plummeted to a 5. It's almost he's almost in Tom Phillips territory.
Yeah.
Was probably the funniest thing he said this week.
Yeah. And I can't wait to have Graves. So that's one thing that I'm going to be excited about, because I suspect Graves goes to SmackDown, but I could be wrong.
Well, yeah, we have the Morrow and Graves rumor, right, for SmackDown.
Right.
What's this? Okay, NXT is I'm gonna be a Steve Austin here. We'll talk about NXT in a second. Let's talk about David Otunga. What? Like, he's not on the Raw pre-show anymore, and he's filling in for Jerry Lawler. Like, if Jerry Lawler wasn't suspended, what's Otunga? Is he being groomed to be on SmackDown?
I don't know if he's being groomed or if he's filler for when Graves gets there. I don't know.
That's so weird. Why take him off the pre-show?
But why not just put Graves there?
I think he was taken off the pre-show before Lawler was suspended also, right?
No, it happened this week.
Oh, recently? Okay.
Yeah, it happened this week. So yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Well, of course, I'm forgetting that they record the freaking pre-show in Stamford. So that's exactly why he wasn't on the pre-show, because he had to travel.
But they said formerly of the WWE pre-show, Raw pre-show, when he was introduced. And they never mentioned Otunga on the pre-show, because I always watch the pre-show after a live event just to, kind of get hyped for Raw. and they never mentioned missing Otunga or Otunga can't be here tonight. They never mentioned his name once, and Morrow announced him as formerly on the WWE pre-show. It's weird. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Back
Anyway.
to NXT.
I thought Otunga did pretty good though for
Yeah, he was
being
all right.
just kind of thrown in.
I mean, listen, I didn't notice him, but I never noticed Byron Saxton either. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. But Ty Dillinger, is this guy gonna like lose, and then all of a sudden like just like Hulk up and be like, God, I can't take it anymore, and just go on this impressive winning streak?
See, I don't know. I'm torn between two ideas on him.
They're long-terming us. They're golden truthing us right now.
I hope not,
With
but
Ty Dillinger.
not in the same way at least.
Darren Younging us, like 3 biggest stories in WWE universe right now. We're making Darren Young great again. The Golden Truth is on track for WrestleMania 33,
and the
Ty
imperfect
Dillinger
10.
is going to main event NXT Takeover one day.
The imperfect 10. So there's two thoughts I have on what they're trying to do with him. Either he was getting over so freaking much that they're like, we got to start jobbing him out, and then he can heal out again. Like he can.
He's still getting over.
But he's always going to get over
with every job.
That was 10. I love that.
He does the punches on the top rope, and everyone's just like 10. No.
And that's what distracted him. That's what, like, he used the crowd as part of his gimmick. It was great.
Hey, at least they didn't do a fake injury angle.
Yeah, I know.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but or
a roll up. He got a decent finisher put on him.
Yeah, so yeah, that's true. It was a good finisher.
It's a blockbuster. Buff Bagwell.
Yeah. But
American males.
Stop it. So either they're trying to actually move him back into heel territory because they obviously believe in faces and heels in NXT, even though the heels get over just as much as the faces. Or if you consider the fact that the dude actually has merch now, I would suspect that maybe what they're going to do is have him lose 10 in a row. And then all of a sudden he goes on a tear and just stops losing.
All right, because he won before TakeOver, so that reset the counter. Because I was going to say he's probably up to like 25 by now.
Yeah, so he's at 3 now.
He's at 3.
He's at 3 on TV.
That's a long play still. That is
joking
a long play. Around. That's a long play. Now,
but
here's where
I
say no.
But hang on, how many TVs do we have between now and Brooklyn?
Not that many.
Brooklyn's in August.
7.
Brooklyn's in August. There's got to be 7 more weeks between now and then.
Maybe if he does one a week, but who knows? Like we already have like there's like 2 or 3 in the can. I think it would be. We have no idea what we're talking about. So,
but could you? Yeah, but could you? It would be pretty funny for him to be going into a match, and he just comes in all dejected. He doesn't do any of his he just walks in slumped shoulders. And they talk about how, wow, the Perfect 10 has actually lost 10 in a row. And then he just has a lights out match. And the crowd goes insane.
Well, I'm thinking he just hulks up one day and he's like, I'm just sick of losing. I've been here forever. I got to prove myself. And then like he does like a Bull Dempsey, kind of disappears for a little while, but doesn't come back as a comedy joke. He comes back and he starts winning a win streak. I don't know if he's going to lose 10 in a row. I don't know if he's going to win 10 in a row, but he's going to get a nice one-off championship match on NXT TV against Samoa Joe or whoever is the champion by then. Let's say Samoa Joe still. And like make a great impression against Samoa Joe. Like have a great match where he's made to look good. And I poo-pooed on this before, but it works in this situation. And whatever this angle is though with Ty Dillinger, and it is an angle, obviously, because he's been featured every week. Whatever the angle is, if there was a mid-card title in NXT, he's like number 1 candidate for being the next champion of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Based on story.
Yep.
So all right, Ty Dillinger hour is wrapping up. Let's move on to other things. We can probably take these obscure, not obscure topics, but topics that like other people might scoff at, like Ty Dillinger. Like I can extend Dana Brooke discussions to like a 3-hour weekly podcast. Because wasn't her outfit just awesome tonight? It's just awesome.
Yeah.
Love the new colors. Hate the role. Love the new colors. But yeah, listen, Nakamura and Finn, I'm shocked that that's not Brooklyn main event. that they announced it for
It
TV.
makes things suspicious, doesn't it? I know. It's been a
PDP
year.
benefactor suspicious. Like it's been,
Yeah, it's been a year of us speculating that he's going to the main roster, but
if Nakamura wins that match, Bailey's on Raw the next week.
yeah, Bailey's on Raw.
Yeah. So
I like that. I really like that. That's our booking now. Is that since everyone's just going to speculate Balor Bailey, we're just going to say the opposite of what is the obvious one for that particular conversation.
Oh God. I'm shocked. Maybe it leads to NXT Brooklyn takeover match anyway. If it's not Samoa Joe versus Nakamura at Brooklyn, but maybe it's just round 2 of Finn versus Nakamura. But now that I think about it, it's probably going to be Nakamura Joe.
Yeah,
and then
that
it's
makes
going to be
a lot more sense for.
I don't know when the next
takeover.
tapings are for NXT, but it probably kind of lines up with the brand extension. So, like, here's like a window where Finn Balor could leave NXT and show up on the main roster, and then that window closes until SummerSlam.
Yeah,
after that point. But
yeah,
it's been open and closed about 17 times. It's drafty. I got a cold because of it, and we can just, I don't know, wake me up when it happens.
But it's going to be
is the term.
I hope they pull a I hope they do like a 30-minute match.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it'd be awesome.
Or they could even do
the whole hour.
They could do the whole hour, but that's
probably be a whole hour.
Well,
they'll probably be like coming up later, Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss, and the American Alpha takes on
like what they did with Joe and Zayn.
Yeah. And as soon as they announced it, like after, I'm just like,
there's no way.
I just don't see those matches happening.
Yeah, exactly. There's just no way. This is
I know it's 2 minutes.
2 out of 3 falls match.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the only difference it was. So, but if it's a TV match for something that's a caliber of Nakamura Balor, and it's going to be his swan song in
gotta
NXT,
have some time for sure.
I'm sure it's going to be the whole thing. Maybe Ty Dillinger will come out, lose first, and then we'll do the rest of it. But how good is Austin Aries dancing?
Fantastic. He really
like you knew that punch was coming, but then there was a point where you're just like, I guess he's just not going to do it. Oh wait, here it can come on the ramp.
Yeah,
no, I guess not. They're going in the back. Oh, they're going to the booth. No, he's not going to do it. They already did. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, that was me. That was me. And that was when I was walking around the track. So I'm like smiling at these 2 guys dancing around. It's just like
you're power walking, dancing like no way, Jose.
I am
around the track.
Exactly. I am such a freaking mark walking around the track, watching the WWE Network on my tiny phone. I'm like, man, I wish I had VR glasses right now.
It's 7 times in that confrontation where like Austin Aries like got out of the ring. I'm like, oh, he's not going to do it, I guess. Oh wait, no, he got back in the ring. Oh no, he's not going to do it. They got out of the ring again. Oh, they're dancing around. They're not going to do it. Oh, there it is. I knew it.
Yeah, exactly. That was me the whole time. Same thing. I was just like,
right, so
you
NXT,
knew it was coming from the backstage segment. You knew something was going to happen, and then
so NXT is awesome
it out.
as normal, as like a weekly occurrence. I think there was like one bad NXT episode I remember in the last 2 years, and that was a night that was similar to last night, where it was just all like squash matches, but it just like felt poorly driven. This time it was like
not
legit. Yeah, I mean, you had a surprise winner. You had a couple, routine matches, and then you had Nakamura. So, who cares? Nakamura versus Buddy Murphy, you still get excited for that. And
Buddy Murphy was great.
Yeah, I like Buddy Murphy.
And Nakamura is like the Asian Brock Lesnar when it comes to getting color, by the way. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
He was cut open again.
The softest little strike, and he's bleeding like a pig. Yeah.
But man, they were both laying it in. It was like they had a meeting backstage, and they're like, "Just hit me as hard as you can."
Or one guy started the match off a little bit too rough, and then Nakamura put him.
That's what it seemed like. That is how it was portrayed, at least.
Alexa Bliss versus Cameron, where Alexa Bliss just snapped and was just stiffing Cameron left and right.
And that was Cameron's last match, by the way.
No, I think she wrestled Nia Jax after that.
Oh, did she?
And got destroyed. Maybe, I don't know. I would have to look it up. They're like forgetful, and they
Yeah,
don't
I mean,
fall
it's
on the
within
timeline
weeks
for
of
me.
each other for sure.
I mean, the only reason I remember that match is because Alexa Bliss just stiffed the hell out of Cameron. It
Yeah,
was
she
awesome.
did. She really
So,
did.
all right.
Which might be
Here's the
why
last
she's
thing I
not
want to
called
talk
up
about
right
tonight.
now. Hang on. Let me throw one more thing about NXT
Yeah,
last night.
yeah.
So this is another thing we normally complain about when it comes to any other instance of this happening, but that recap package for Asuka versus Nia Jax was unbelievably good. Like, it made me want to go back and watch the match again.
Oh yeah.
It was so good.
I felt like
good.
I watched it like 4 times though.
What, the
when
match?
I saw it. No, the recap with the whole here's Nia Jax's theme music, here's Asuka's theme music, and here's Baby Metal to close the segment. Like that's just the formula they used for to hype the match.
Right, that's true. But
At
man,
the pre-show, during the show, and then like last week, I felt like I watched something similar.
well, and you got to get that monster scream again. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good.
Yeah.
And Liv, and to follow that up, and this is the last thing.
Yeah, Liv Morgan.
Liv Morgan
Yes.
is a freaking pro. She is
love
a
Liv
freaking
Morgan.
pro.
I don't care if she's from Jersey.
She is I get it. Like, I get the hype behind her because I can't wait to see her in a more prominent role. What I'd love to see is she and Alexa Bliss going at each other, with Alexa holding the title. That's what I would love to see.
When Deonna Purrazzo came out and her music hit.
Oh yeah, we got
jumped off the
Bailey again, by the way.
I jumped off the couch and I went, Liv Morgan. And it was Deonna Purrazzo. I'm like, ah.
I don't know their music.
And then later on, I was like, Liv Morgan. I knew it.
And she's a pro. Like, she looked so solid in that match. It was fantastic. Anyway, that's all.
Oh yeah, and then Bailey was there, and Bailey
was
won.
great.
That means Bailey's going to be on Raw this week. So.
Yeah, no, it means
All right.
Balor's going to be on Raw this week.
Oh, it means. I'm sorry, it means Balor's going to be
got
on
it
Raw.
wrong.
My bad. My bad. And all right, here's what I wanted to talk about tonight, and we'll take a little bit on this, and then we'll watch the replay of Queen of the South on USA.
Of course we will.
Tag team division on the main roster. Brand extension aside for now, because it's not happening for a few weeks. But as of right now, I feel like, and I understand that there's an argument. I don't need the argument how legit this is and how it makes sense and stuff like that. But let's leave that aside. Are we made to look like fools as wrestling? Well, we're always made to look like fools as wrestling fans. But regarding this specific instance, where we have 3 tag team matches on Money in the Bank, you have Golden Truth winning over suntan burned whatever. Fandango and Tyler Breeze. You have the Lucha Dragons beating the Dudleys. So there's 2 legitimate winners of tag team matches on pay-per-views right there. Then you have the New Day defending the title against 3 other tag teams on Money in the Bank. So what happens on Raw? Do the teams that won on the pay-per-view now get elevated to the tag team match? Doesn't look that way.
Nope.
A returning Wyatt family looks like they're slotted in right there to get the NXT, the WWE Tag Team title match at Money in the Survivor Series. What's next? Battleground. Is this like, okay, it's the Wyatt family. Bray Wyatt's on another level. We want to see him push through the roof. He's entertaining. All that. Is this like, we argue hierarchy and a reason for the rankings and wins and losses matter. Does it bother you in some way that the Wyatt family gets put right there? And then there's no like Andersons and Gallows rematch or one of the other tag teams they had win in the match instead?
Yeah, or one of the teams, like, of all teams for New Day to have faced, they faced the team they pinned. Like, what? Like, how does
that was today on SmackDown.
Yeah, on SmackDown.
Oh, I'm talking
Yeah.
tag title. Was that even a tag title match? I'm not even.
No. I don't think it was. But
okay.
But like, just to further the complete disconnect of do the matches even matter? It's the of
how many
of
times
all
did
people,
the Vaudevillains laid down since they've won?
Yeah, I know. There's that too. But
yeah.
of all people for New Day to face tonight, if they were going to face someone that was from the crappy Fatal 4-Way match, wouldn't it make sense for them to face one of the other teams that they didn't pin? Wouldn't that make sense? Wouldn't that make the most sense? It of those teams, but instead you pick the team that they pinned. Like like
Or
it's like
even
pushing the logic. It's pushing the lack of logic to the max. And yeah, I agree with you, but it's like you said, putting aside the fact that it's legit and it makes sense, and
well,
it makes sense
it
in a
doesn't.
broader
Okay.
in a broader scheme. In a
It's
broader
not
scheme.
legit. It's not legit, and it doesn't make sense according to like rankings and hierarchy and treating this like a sport like UFC or boxing where ranking matters if you get a title match or not. But it makes sense in terms of, hey, Bray Wyatt's a star,
From a
and
talent perspective.
yeah,
Yes.
and then like, well, okay, then why add those two matches on the pre-show of Money in the Bank? Why extend the event with two more matches if you're not even going to acknowledge those teams winning, and maybe even
Right.
have those teams fighting each other for a chance to fight New Day at SmackDown, and then have Bray Wyatt get involved after that? You know, it's like, man, it's like they could just do a little bit better regarding who gets championship matches and who's fighting for number one contenders. As simple as that. Yeah, two teams winning on a pay-per-view, have them wrestle on Raw. Have the winner going to SmackDown fighting for the title.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
you literally
Now
could
we
do
just
it all in one.
transitioned to Bray Wyatt.
Well, you literally could do it all in 1 week,
Yeah.
like you just outlined. You could do it all in 1 week, and have the and you could still do the Wyatts returning and New Day interrupting them, and you could have done it either this week or you could do it next week after all that's played out that you just said. So it's it's really goofy, but one thing WWE unfortunately has been extremely guilty of over the past several years
Not
is
letting the women wrestle to conclusion.
that's that, but
Okay.
also,
Oh, I thought I was right.
I mean, that's a whole other multi-series podcast or
I'm not even talking about it anymore.
multi-podcast series. But anyway, one thing is just a lack of any sort of logic to what's going on. And I know wrestling doesn't have to be logical, but the story the angle needs to make sense. And like you said, if they want it to be quote unquote sports entertainment, then it would make sense for there to be, like you said, a hierarchy, a very natural progression to what happens when you win and what happens when you lose. But again, now this gets us back on the whole 50-50 booking thing again. But yeah, so
They do power rankings on the WWE website, but they are missing the ball when it comes to rankings on TV and then stemming mid-card matches from them to see who should vie for the U.S. title, to see who should vie for the Intercontinental title. Listen, they predetermine everything. Okay, I'm not 5 years old.
right.
But they can predetermine it and still have rankings for those predeterminations and long plays and stuff like that. Sneak somebody into the rankings at number 7 who might be penciled in to fight for the title in 7 months. You know what I mean? They could just say like, oh, okay, U.S. title. Okay, Titus O'Neil won a series of matches to get to the number one contender or earn a title shot at for the U.S. title instead of just interrupting Rusev when he was beating somebody up.
Right.
They missed the ball that way in a lot of sense, and it doesn't take much more than they're doing now. It will take the same amount of time. It's the same segment. They just are not creative enough that way to care, I think.
I really think, and again, broader story for a different day, but it really all comes down to there's too many cooks in the kitchen. There's not a cohesive story being told across the entire everything, across the entire show. And so maybe a brand split actually contributes to that, but I fear one of my fears with the brand split, besides just oversaturation in general, is that they hire extra writers for both shows, and it just it just exaggerates the problem even more, where you have all these people not talking to each other, and they're just assigned to this match tonight and then this match the next night. Oh, you did okay with those guys, so we'll do you write another thing for those guys, and it doesn't have to be cohesive with what you wrote last time. Just write another thing for those guys.
We're spending so much time on Darren Young making him great again and the Golden Truth, and we're not spending the time on creating viable contenders who, based on their wins, elevate themselves up the card to earn U.S. title matches, intercontinental title matches. And the world title picture is just the same people plus AJ Styles. He got added to the mix. Seth Rollins came back. So there's now a better group of people, but we also ripped out Sheamus as well at the same time. So
yeah, it's
kind of like the same old on the top of the card. And then you have the Intercontinental title, and since it's not being defended because The Miz is making a movie, you have all the Intercontinental viable people wrestling each other all the time in this like crazy, twisted, roundabout circle of life. That it's just, and tonight Cesaro and Del Rio fought. Well, just the same 6 people have been fighting always in that no man's land.
Literally
since
zone. WrestleMania, it's been those 6 guys.
Yeah,
those
Miz and Del Rio swapped them out. And Jericho swapped out for whoever was in them, Kalisto or Sin Cara was in that. Whatever, it was like 9 people.
Ryder
and Stardust was in that match.
Yeah,
but
but it's been the 6 guys that were in the non-title picture. Like it's been because you had so it's not 6.
AJ fought Jericho and Dean fought Lesnar.
Dean fought Brock. So it's like it's all the same guys at the top, and that that's wrestling. But why? Anyway, there's just no hierarchy, so it's just everybody just wrestling everybody. It's just a weird free for all.
Yeah, it just maybe I said brand split aside. But maybe right now it is just like the negative zone. It's like everything's existing as it exists right now.
Right.
And we're just going to stretch things out until we reach this point.
It's a stall.
Yeah. And
entirely possible.
Maybe that's part of the reason why Money in the Bank fell flat, is just because they put too many things on the card, and then they kind of just like things were what they were. I mean, kind of stories progressed and stories were told. But it's like a lot of the wrestling just kind of like fell flat, and it just kind of felt like I had family over as well. You know how that goes in my house.
Yeah.
Well, that was fake. That was fake. Put on the basketball game. You know what? Shut up.
I thought the wrestling in general for most of the show was just pretty bad, and lots of missed spots.
How about Natalia's tag to Becky Lynch? When no one else was in the ring and she was a foot in front of her, and she kept trying to drag herself to Becky Lynch.
She lagged. Yeah. This is the Game and Wrestling Connection. There's your game connection for the week. Natalia.
Speaking of game connection, Mighty Number 9. That's the hot trending topic right now.
Yeah, it seems like everybody's hating on it. But anyway.
I want Overwatch really bad. I played the demo, but I've been watching people play it. Man, I'm itching to play it so
bad. I love their the highlight system, just the play of the game stuff. And how people have turned it into a meme already. It's pretty great. You've seen those, right?
I haven't seen the play of it, no, but I've seen like the how heavily weighted the play of the game is to like certain classes and certain characters.
Sure. Well, I'm gonna have to. When we're done here, I'll shoot you some links so you can see.
Do it now.
Games.
Everyone will wait.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on. Now, with that, we're done. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Whatever it is for you. I'm the Duke, and he is
Steve Blackman.
Yes, you got it in. Yes.
Get off my computer.